evening's artists and other audience members, we ask that you turn off your mobile device at this time. Photography and recording of any kind during the performance is prohibited. The Millennium stage presents a free performance at 6 p.m., 365 days a year. All of our performances are broadcast live and available on demand at www.kennedycenter.org. For our opening act tonight, this is her second time at the Kennedy Center, and she's the co-founder of In Laughing Color, a stand-up workshop for trans and queer comedians. Please welcome to the stage, Chelsea Short.
Hey! Hey! Wow! Oh man, this is so cool! Being at the Kennedy Center for the second time. I'm so excited to be invited. All right. Happy Pride. Yeah, right? Okay. All right. I guess some people aren't so happy that it's Pride, and that's okay. That's why we have it, because we don't need you. That's why we have it. That's why we have it. I don't need your validation. That's exactly right. That's why I'm wearing these white pants and this very loud shirt, because the Latino Pride Party is tonight, and I wanted to look as Puerto Rican as possible. So that's why I'm here. I can make that joke. My mom is half Puerto Rican, which means I can make it, but just barely, because that means I'm a quarter Puerto Rican. I have to apologize. I mean, I iron this shirt, but usually for comedy shows, I like to dress up. I like to, put on a nice bow tie, maybe a jacket, a blazer, because it makes me feel professional, If you guys are, well, it's a free show, but still, I want it to feel like, it's worth $8, so I like to put on a nice blazer, because it makes me feel good. But I only recently realized that when I dress like that, it turns me into the type of lesbian that a straight woman will never experiment with. I mean, I was thinking about it, I was like, wait a minute. If you're straight and you're experimenting with me, you're gay. You're gay. I'm not a starter lesbian. I'm like a level, I wouldn't say I'm a big boss level lesbian, but I'm like mini boss level lesbian. You gotta get past me to get to Big Bowser, you know what I mean? Yeah. Princess is in another castle, but I'm like mini boss level gay. I'm really happy to be here at the Kennedy Center. I know I said it before, but I'm really happy to be here because that means that maybe comedy isn't a huge waste of my life, My parents keep reminding me, but I'm like, wait a minute. I'm at the Kennedy Center for a free show. So, haha. But mainly because, I don't have a plan B. This is it. This is my life now because, I'm walking around my day job as if I've given my 2 weeks notice and I have another job waiting for me. Not at all. Like, I think you're too comfortable at work when you start undoing your pants even before you get to the bathroom door. Like, I think that's how you should get your resume together. You need a new challenge, yeah. Like, ladies, have you ever been at work and looked down and noticed your breasts are going in 2 different directions, but you care so little about your job, you just do a quick breast readjust right there in your cube? Like, that's where I am at work right now. That's what I'm dealing with. They asked me to do a 3-page self-evaluation today, so I just wrote, "I'm awesome," in really big font and printed it landscape and slipped it on the door at 3. So I could get here. I was like, bye, guys. That's enough for me. I don't think I'm going to go in tomorrow. That's just me. I'm not going to do it. I don't know why I'm setting myself up for failure by not going into work, though, because, you guys know about the glass ceiling, right? But as, like, a black, gay woman, it's not so much like a glass ceiling. It's more like a glass terrarium, kind of. Like, it's full enclosure. But it's not just that. It's almost like there are these white male CEOs that are pissing on the glass as I'm trying to do reports and stuff. It's weird. What I'm saying is it's hard. It's really hard to be me. Yeah. I do date online. Who dates online here? Okay. some liars in the audience, and that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I do date online. I try. It's hard though. I'm really jealous of, gay men and straight people. Like, gay men have Grindr, and straight people, they hook up on Tinder. And like, I feel like there's something really sexy about the name Grindr and Tinder. It sounds like, we're gonna be fucking. It sounds like something's gonna happen. And lesbians, we don't have anything anywhere close to sounding as sexy as that. You guys want to know what the equivalent lesbian dating app to Tinder and Grindr is? Because it bases your matches on geolocation. The equivalent lesbian app is named Brenda. Ew. No, thank you. Sorry if there are any Brendas here, but I don't really want to hook up with one of my mom's friends. It's just not what I'm in. And why would they name it Brenda? Is there only one woman on there and she's 50? Not my style. Why wouldn't they name it Brenda's? The illusion of choice would be nice. The illusion of choice. I don't know. A lot of people, they're like, what would be really cool? If you guys wanted to get on the ER app, dating app thing, why don't you create an app for lesbians called Scissor? And I'm like, well, first, you're spelling the scissor wrong. It's not, you're spelling it wrong. Second, that's not a thing that we do. We don't, it takes a lot of arm strength to do that, and I feel like that's a lot to ask in a lesbian. Maybe one person has enough arm strength, not two. It's just a lot, you know what I mean? It's a lot to ask. Anyways, if there were an app called Scissor, the only people that would be on it would be just 13-year-old boys sending stock photos of boobs back and forth. There wouldn't be real ladies on it. There wouldn't be real ladies. I feel like the best name for a lesbian dating app, though, has already been taken. Twitter, right? Twitter would be the most perfect lesbian dating app name, but it's already being used for other dumb stuff. Imagine it, doesn't Twitter sound like something you would do to, a lady's parts, right? It certainly does. Imagine it, right? Hey, Daddy, do that thing. What thing are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. Use your words. The thing, Daddy. My favorite thing. Oh, girl, you mean the Twitter? Yeah, hold on. I think it's perfect. You guys thought you were coming to oh, let's slam the Senate. Yeah. And this is not what you were thinking would happen. That's okay. Diversity, we live for it. You guys should just go to Facebook if you were wanted to memes about the Senate and that local congressman, states' rights, blah. So you're getting something else, and that's okay. You're getting something else, and that's okay. So it is Pride, and I love Pride because it's not just a moment to party and stuff. It's a moment to reflect, and I love reflecting on Black gay history. I mean, it's just so really cool. It's so cool to me when I think about the history of Black gay people in the United States. We've done so much. You guys know Langston Hughes, right? Or not? Okay, a few of you do, right? Langston Hughes, a great poet of the Harlem Renaissance. But how many of you knew he was gay? Okay. Less people, which is good. Less people knew that he didn't know that he was gay than knew who he was. So that, it makes sense that it's a subsection. I get it. A lot of people don't know that he was gay. Did you guys know that Bayard Rustin, the man who taught Gandhi the principles of pacifism, the guy who wrote a lot of Martin Luther King's speeches, he was gay? What? A lot less people. And that's why we have Pride, to teach you, and also because we don't need you. I get it. That's why we have it. But when I think about gay history, it's so special to me The thing is, it's really tough to find because a lot of people don't talk about it. You know, like when gay people, when they were like writing their memoirs, people were always like, hey, leave the gay stuff out. You don't want to sully your legacy. So it's really tough to find gay history, and if you want to find it, you have to like read personal correspondence. You have to read diaries. You have to look really hard. And sometimes you get lucky and you find a picture of somebody as who they were when they lived. But the thing is, it's really tough to look at a picture and tell from a picture whether or not somebody is gay. That said, whenever I look at pictures of Harriet Tubman, I'm like, gay, 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 right? Gay, gay. And like, why wouldn't I want such a beautiful gay, like American hero to call my own? I would, right? Because if you guys, maybe some of y'all don't remember who Harriet Tubman is. A knowing laugh, yes. So some of you don't. I'll give you a crash course. Harriet Tubman did quite a lot, but one of the things that she's most remembered for is she helped enslaved Africans escape slavery in the South by leading them through the wilderness up to the north, up to Canada, to freedom, which is like leading people through the wilderness and innovating the concept of a park ranger is the most lesbian thing I've ever heard in my life. That's incredible. Like if Harriet Tubman were here now and you were like, Harriet, let's go to the car dealership. I'll buy you any car you want. See it on the lot and go. She'd be like, the Subaru, clearly. I'd be like, why? She's like, carry my stuff. What stuff? You have no things. You know, they nicknamed her the Moses of her people. You don't think she parted a few Red Seas? Come on. Come on. You guys aren't that liberal, are you? You're not, because you were like, oh, did you mention something that 50% of the planet experiences for a quarter of their lives? Oh, distasteful. That's okay. I still like you. A little bit. That's okay. Periods are real. They happen. Sit with that as I leave the stage. Because the next comedian come to the stage is who you came for, and you're gonna really enjoy them. You're gonna really enjoy them. And you might know them, in fact, most of you probably do, from his show on FX, Totally Biased. Give it up for Totally Biased. And you're here now, but you will get to know him better when his new show on CNN, The United Shades of America, begins in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. W. Kamau Bell.
Get over for Chelsea, everybody. And for yourself, for coming out to see free comedy. Yes, yeah. Why not? By applause, how many people actually know who I am? All right, okay, good. And then how many people just came in because it's hot? There we go, yeah. Just like walking in DC heat. Oh, shit. What's that, free air conditioning? I'm in. Black guy yelling about racism. I'll take it if there's air conditioning. It's a good time to yell about racism. Racism's at an all-time high. It's like Apple stock. You got to buy it. Actually, you don't want to buy it. It's too high. You got to wait for it to come down a little bit. I'm happy to be here. I like DC. I'll see if that's how it's going to be. Everybody like, it's right off the top he's talking about racism. Yeah, that's how I do. Even when it's free, I don't even wait up. I don't slowly edge my way into the racism. I'm happy to be here. I just came here. I live in California, Berkeley, California, Northern California. Yes. Is that applause for just California or Berkeley or just Berkeley? Is this the Northern California people? We didn't have to do this here. We could have done it there. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's like right now. It's like 55 degrees. It's nice. That's what it is every day. That's how we do it. Google did that for us. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I came all the way. I like DC. It's a good city. I didn't realize that Kennedy Center sounds like a big deal. Come to the Kennedy Center. I was excited about that. I didn't realize the Watergate Hotel was still a thing. Nobody thought that would be torn down. It's like, yeah, it's still a thing? People stay at the Watergate Hotel? Do they stay at the room? Is it? I don't have jokes for this. I'm just curious. I was just like, most towns would have torn that down. You're like, no, now we're charging double for those rooms. That's funny. Yeah. I do travel around a lot for comedy. I've been traveling for my new CNN show, too. I like to travel around. I like to get outside my comfort zone, even though I like Northern California. I like getting outside my shell. I like to go places where I'm going to mix it up and meet new people, because that's what you got to do. That's how we get to the better world. You got to get next to people who are different than us and hang out a little bit. You know, New York City is one of the most liberal cities on the planet, and yet it's filled with hate. But it's like New York. Think about New York. It's, Arr! But it's also liberal because they're all in the subway together. When you're all packed on the subway, you're like, oh, I thought that guy was an asshole, but he's right there, he's fine. No, I just feel like you got to be next to each other. So I like to travel around to go places where I wouldn't expect. My last tour, I was in Jackson, Mississippi. Yeah. 3 people going, ooh. No, Jackson was a good time. But Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah. Less? Okay, all right. I'm kind of a black without borders. I'll go anywhere. It's in Milwaukee, Madison, Wisconsin. You ever been to Madison, Wisconsin? Madison's a good city. It's a good town. It's very liberal. It's very progressive. They have a big thing there called Fighting Bob Fest that they have every year for liberals, and to go get fired up and find out what's going on in the world. Madison's also a very white city, very white. I'm not judging, just saying. I was there and I noticed. It's very white, but a very sort of friendly, like in your face, like it's like hi, you know, that kind of white people, like hi, yes, hi, you know, it's like it feels like Madison, Wisconsin feels like maybe where white people come from originally. You know what I'm saying? Like they bubble out of the ground. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Holding tuna noodle casserole. How you doing? How you doing? Hot dish. I know your words. I'm having my own show just by judging your reactions. No, it's nice. They're very white. They're very like, it's very like, how you doing? Just a very sort of Midwestern, hey. And so I went there to do a show that night, but I went during the day to this thing called Fighting Bob Fest, which is this big liberal Lollapalooza where they have all these speakers firing people up about all the liberal and progressive causes. And they had, like, Bernie Sanders was there. And yeah, exactly. Yeah. Trying to get a government job. Tom Hartman was there. Cornel West was there. Yeah, it was great. And so I saw all these people speaking, and I was all like fired up and excited about everything. And I walked around afterwards, like I was leaving, but I was also just excited to be there. So I just walked around, soaking the scene in. And people were so nice in Madison. People came up to me and were like, this woman came up and said, "Thank you for coming." It's like, thank you. How'd you know I wasn't from here? Another white person, "Thank you for coming, thank you." Very, like, a lot of people, "Thank you," like very sort of aggressive, "Thank you for coming." Thank you sounds a little bit like fuck you. Thank you. Thank you back. Then finally, this really old white lady came up to me and grabbed my hand and said, "Thank you for coming. It was important that you came." I was like, oh man, these people think I'm Cornel West. And I'm not, for anybody who's confused in the back. What the hell is Cornel wearing? What is going on? Yeah, they thought I was Cornel West. I'm not. And I'm not going to put that kind of thinking on a small town. That stuff's happened to me in major cities. I lived in San Francisco for a long time. Before I was really doing well in comedy. Or was this well? I don't know. Before I where I am now. Doing as well, as okay as I am now. But yeah, before I was doing okay in comedy, I was hanging out with a friend of mine. I just started doing comedy. My friend's like, you're trying to pursue your dream. Let me take you out for lunch. I'll buy you a nice lunch at a nice restaurant. And I was like, cool. We went out to this restaurant, and the waitress was giving us really good service, and she was being kind of flirty with me and being a little bit extra like, you know. And I was like, oh, apparently somebody's been to my YouTube channel. I got a video with almost 16 views. And then we left, and the next day I got a text message from my friend Vanessa. She goes, "You don't believe what happened?" I said, "What?" She said, "I went back to that restaurant, and the waitress said, 'How do you know the lead singer of The Roots?'" which is screwed up for oh so many reasons. But on a basic level, it's screwed up because the Roots don't have a lead singer. They're a hip-hop band. They have a rapper. His name's Black Thought. He's a short dude, wears sunglasses and dark skin. I don't look like that dude. I think she thought I was Questlove, the drummer. But I don't look like Questlove. You know how I know? Because I don't look like Questlove. That's how I know. Because I have a mirror in my house with a picture of Questlove taped to it. And every day before I leave my house, I look at the mirror, I look at Questlove. Nope, don't look like him today. And I get to stepping. I promise today I look exactly like Questlove. I'll stay inside and draw the drape so nobody gets confused. I get that all the time. I feel like I gotta say this often, is whenever I'm in front of big groups of people, especially when there's white people in the room. I just want to say this. More than one black guy can have a nappy afro at one time, all right? We don't go to the black guy meeting and pass them out. That's not how it works. Who needs a nappy afro this week? I do. Oh, here you go, Questlove. More than one black. I don't know what these people would have done in the 70s, man. I see Dr. J everywhere. I get how you could think somebody was somebody other than who they were in your head, but how does he do it? You know what I mean? I get, that's what your head is for, just lots of nonsense. It's just a bubbling cauldron of nonsense. And sometimes you say, oh, that's smart, and you send that down the pipe. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's actually relevant, and you say that, but your head is just always, And you're supposed to have, like, that's why your mouth is all the way down here and your brain is up here, because evolution thought of that. They're like, we need to separate these two a little bit so you could have time to go, I should say this. No, pull back, pull back. But people just, ugh. And so that's the funny thing, is that there is all this space, but now, like, we've created a workaround around that. People are like, oh, you don't want me to say it, mouth? All right, then I'll tweet it. Fucked up thought, fucked up thought, fucked up thought. Aha, everybody's gonna, oh, I'm fired. That's what Twitter's main job is, getting people fired. And so I get it. Like, I get how you have that thought in your head, but I don't get how now. I get maybe 10, 15 years ago, you'd have a crazy thought about somebody with somebody who they are, and you might say it out loud, but not now. We live in the 21st century. It doesn't make any sense. We're in the future. Everybody in this room has a device in their pocket that has all the information from the history of planet Earth, and you can search it by images. See what I'm saying? You'd be like, Google, is that the lead singer of the Roots? And Google will be like, no, you're a racist. Oh, thank you, Google. That's why I switched from Bing. No. I've been doing that joke for a while about how people think I look like Questlove. It's funny, there's two. Black people go, you look a little bit like Questlove. And I go, all right, no, I don't, but fine. But then white people are like, you're Questlove! It's just a weird thing. And I thought that was the whole thing. And then recently I had the reverse version of that joke happen, which I didn't know there was a reverse version of that joke. But I was in Seattle. I went there to do this Bumbershoot Comedy Festival, and I get to the airport, and they tell me somebody's going to pick me up at the airport. And so I get off the plane, and I'm waiting, and nobody shows up to pick me up at the airport. And so I call the festival. I go, hey, nobody has come to pick me up at the airport. They go, oh, we'll send a woman down to get you. Just be on the lookout for her. She's a brunette woman. She's wearing a Bumbershoot T-shirt. She's carrying a clipboard. And I was like, okay, so I'll wait for this woman in a Bumbershoot T-shirt carrying a clipboard. And the woman said brunette, so I knew it was a white lady, right? Because brunette is code for white lady. Nobody calls an Asian woman a brunette. That never happens. Nobody calls a black woman a brunette. No, they don't say, no, they go, but they don't want to say black. They go, could be like your cousin. You know what I mean? That's how they say it. Brunette, redhead, blonde. That's all different ways to say white lady without saying white lady. So I was like, all right, I'll wait for this white lady to come down here. So I'm standing there, white lady with brunette hair comes down, clipboard, Bumbershoot T-shirt, and I see her looking at me, and she's looking at her clipboard, and I do the thing that all black men are taught by their black moms to do when they see a white person, they want to let them know they're cool. I go, not like a full tap dance, but like a shuffle step. You know what I'm talking about, black people? Like a half a candy man, who can take a rainbow, you know what I mean? Just to let them know you're cool, let them know you're cool. That joke brought to you by pain. So I was like, and she looked at her clipboard and she looked up and she walked away. So I called the festival back. I go, hey, this woman just came down. She was a brunette and she carried a clipboard and she wore a Bumbershoot T-shirt, but she looked at me and she walked away. She's like, well, then go just find her and approach her and tell her you're you. I'm like, oh, God damn it. So now I have to approach a white person I don't know out in public during this current climate. So I do the next level of that every black mom teaches their son. I sort of go like this, make myself small, move my hips a lot, hypnotize, a little bit of this, a little step and fetch it in the face. Look it up. I can't, Only 50 minutes. And I tap the woman on the shoulder, and she turns around, and I go, are you here to pick W. Kamau Bell up? She goes, yeah. I go, well, that's me. And then she says this, and that's where she goes, oh, I thought that was you. But then I didn't want to be wrong, so I didn't say anything, and I walked away. Wait a minute, let's talk this through. You were sent to the airport to pick me up. You saw somebody who fit my exact description, but you didn't say anything because you thought you might be racist if you were wrong, so you'd rather be wrong than racist? Yeah, that's what it is. So she just left me at the airport. Like, you would rather be, I just didn't want to say anything, so I just leave you at the airport. It's a confusing world we live in, man. It's a confusing, this 2015 is not exactly what we expected. You guys are right in the thick of it here. How do you feel about Barack Obama? He lives right in this town, right? Wow. That took a second. It's like you guys all looked around. Are we doing it? Yeah. You guys, are we? I don't know, man. I'm about ready to turn this country back over to the white people. This has been stressful. This last 8 years, it's just been stressful. Oh my God. I'm just like, let the white people handle it again. It's too stressful when you're like, he's the president, but he's black, but he's doing a good job, but he's doing a bad job. Hillary Clinton, is she gonna be the president? Wow, that was less than the first. This is just, I think Hillary doesn't want to run for president. I think she just wants to be president. You know what I mean? I don't think she wants to do the running part. She's like, she announced in April. Nobody's seen her since. She's just, I'm announcing my candidacy. Here's a YouTube video. I'll see you in November of next year. I think if she could, she would have announced her candidacy the night before the election. I think that's how she would have done it. I feel bad for her. She's like, I was supposed to be ending my presidency right now. But, she had a whole vision. She's like a grandma. She's like, oh, I'll be done. I'll be able to retire. You build a library. And now she's like, who wants that job at 67 years old? That's crazy, man. I don't think and you want the world to be good and the world to be better. And I'm in the middle of this whole race thing. I got married. I got 2 kids. Got some of those mixed race kids. Anybody got mixed race kids? One hand up, one woo. Everybody else is like, no, we're not doing that. Really, in D.C.? I'm surprised. Is that, not really? Okay, for everybody who doesn't have mixed race kids, get a mixed race kid. No, seriously, I can't recommend them. I mean, you can have the regular kids, but get a mixed race kids. They're great. They're like the new iPads. It's the shit everybody's trying to get. Wait in line if you have to. That's the weird thing about having a mixed race kid, is that mixed race kids, people react to them the same way they react to it the first time you saw an iPad. It's the same thing. When I walk around with my 3-year-old daughter, people react to her the way they reacted the first time they saw an iPad. Like when you first saw an iPad, you're like, oh my God, look at that, it's amazing. How do I get one of those? It's so adorable, it's so small, I want one, oh my God. That's how people react to my daughter. Oh my God, look at her, that's so amazing. I want one of those. It's so great. Look at her, look at her, look at her, look at her, look at her. And look at you, and look at her, 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 and look at you, and look at her. This is amazing. How did you do this? She's got your skin, but the nose is all different. It's all crazy. It's like she's kind of got your skin, but the nose is the same. How did you do it? Then my wife walks up. Oh, this is the X factor I was looking for. Look at her, look at her, look at him, look at her, look at her, look at her, look at him, look at her, look at her, look at her, look at him, look at these two. What is going on? Oh, this is so great. I love this so much. I want to eat your face. This is disgusting, but this is amazing. How can I love this so much and hate this just the same? Suffice it to say, it's the last time we go to Christmas at my in-laws' house. That joke's not entirely true, but it's true enough. It's more a distillation of several years of hanging out at my in-laws' house. But the truth part of that joke is that I realized this after I had my first daughter. I got 2 kids now. I got 2 daughters. And I realized after we had our first daughter, Sammy, when we started going back to my in-laws' house and she got to be a little older, I realized that there was a hidden benefit to having Sammy that I wasn't aware of. That now when I go to my in-laws' house, I can bring a black person with me. you understand the power of that? I made my own ally. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not everybody can do that, yeah. Because I used to go to my in-laws' house by myself, but now when I go to my in-laws' house, I got a black person with me. I go, look, come on here, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Do you believe these white folks? Do you believe these? I know, every year it's like this. I'm glad you came. They don't even eat sweet potato pie. It's fucking weird. Pumpkin. I know. Ugh. Because I used to go to my in-laws' house by myself for years, and I'd be like, do you white folks believe yourselves? You do. Okay, all right. I'll be outside making an unnecessary phone call to my cell phone provider. What's up, Verizon? How's it going? No, I'm just chatting. I've never actually said that to my daughter. I'm pretty sure if I ever said to my daughter, do you believe these white folks, she would not have a good reaction. Because my daughter loves her grandparents, and they're great with her, they're awesome. But I'm pretty sure if I said to my daughter, do you believe these white folks? She'd be like, yeah, I believe these white folks. I don't believe you, Negro. I'm gonna stand over here and see if I can pass. Not with this nose you won't. I gave you the Jackson 4. Yeah, we're close enough to the South where that all made sense. I appreciate that. In the North, I say pass. They go, what? What is it? I don't understand. Yeah. Yeah, my daughter's great. She's like my buddy. She's 4 years old now. It's weird to have, I never thought about this. Actually, like me and my daughter are friends. She's 4. And we hang out. Is that silly? We like hang out. She's like my buddy. Like, I like her. I feel like I would like her even if she wasn't my kid. But I think it'd be weird to, like if she was somebody else's kid. Hey, can I come hang out with Sammy today? I just like her. We just, it's just weird to like. I feel like I might be biased, but I also think I would like her if she wasn't my kid. And she's always, I realize, and it's also I think because you have a kid and you get to sort of you get to sort of do the things that, you just sort of build the thing you want. I mean, I know she's only 4, but I just feel like there's things that she's picking up from me that I didn't know I was giving to her, and I'm like, God, this is gonna be great. This is a true story. This happened the other day. We were in the car, and me and my wife, and Sammy's in the back with her sister. Sister's not saying much. She's 7 months old. But my wife, we're saying something. My wife just did that thing that married couples do where you say, oh, stop. And she sort of hit me. And Sammy goes, don't hit Dada. He's my friend. And I don't like that. And my wife was like, what? And I'm like, ha-ha, yeah. Miniature black power fist. Don't hit me. That's my running buddy. She got my back. My wife, we had a long talk after that. Yeah, people ask me all the time, like, well, you talked about your daughter being black, and you're black, and have you talked to your daughter about the fact that she's black? Have you brought that up for her? And it's like, we've started slowly. I mean, it's a lot of information to get. She's 4 years old. You can't just go, hey, Sammy, you're black. It's like a lot. It's like finding out you're like a Jedi or something. You got to train them into that shit. Being black's not bad, but it's a big responsibility. You got to fucking figure it out for a while. You need like a Yoda to sort of go, okay, let's go through this slowly. It's a lot of power. With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, my mom waited till I was 5 before she told me I was black. And she did it the right way. One night she was like, come out tonight, you can have whatever you want for dinner. I was like, yay. She's like, and you can stay up all night. And I was like, yay. And she's like, by the way, you're black. I was like, whoa. Slow down a second. That explains everything. I just thought every day I was kind of having a shitty day. Thanks for explaining that to me. There's a historical context for this shitty day I keep having. Oh, then I've been having pretty good days. If I'm black and they're just kind of shitty, it's pretty good then, because it can get worse. Thank you, 2 people over there, for taking that all the way to the end. So yeah, me and my wife, me and my daughter, we've talked about that. We read books to Sammy about race and racism. We're starting to break that whole discussion in, slowly but surely. My wife is the one who realized that as soon as our daughter was born, that she was going to have to sort of like confront some things she had not thought about. It was even before she was born, my wife realized something. It was like, one night in the middle of the night, she woke up in a cold sweat, just like, oh my God. I was like, what? She's like, what am I going to do about her hair? It's the black people clapping, the black women clapping, like, mm-hmm. I was like, what's wrong? She's like, I had a nightmare. There was just yellow afro as far as the eye could see. I was like, that is racist. She said, I know it's racist and I never said it. You just make me say it for this joke. That's true. That's true. That's true. You never said that. I made up the yellow afro as far as I can see because that makes me laugh. Yeah, but my wife did have that moment where she was like, what am I going to do? Because she just, as a white person with white people hair, she knows how to do that. But then she knew she could wear mixed race daughter. And then it was like, what's the hair going to be like? Because there's a whole range of mixed kid hair you don't know. And the hair the kid's born with could change. It's a whole, There's like PhD theses about this shit at black universities. So, Howard has a thesis about Howard, yeah. So my wife was like, what am I going to do? And so my wife did what she did, because my wife also has her PhD. She's got a PhD in contemporary dance theory and an MFA in experimental dance choreography, which means one thing: we're going to be rich. Social political comedian and a modern dancer. Cha-ching! Venture capitalists, line up over here. We'll talk after the show. Yeah, so my wife studied it. She went to the library to find books. She talked to friends who have mixed race kids. She talked to friends with black kids. She went on the internet and she found this website, a website designed specifically to teach white people how to do black or mixed kids' hair. It's a real website. It exists. Anybody know this website? I'll tell you. Okay, don't spoil it yet. It's a website designed specifically to teach white people how to do black or mixed kids' hair. Because, I guess there's a way to talk to white people about that, that you don't just talk to everyone else. Like, first of all, there's a black person in your house. Okay, all right. Remain calm. You probably adopted them. Okay. So it's a website, and I'm going to tell you the name of the website, and you're going to think I'm lying. Maybe I can get some independent verification on this. The name of the website that teaches white people how to do black or mixed kids' hair is called Chocolate Hair Vanilla Care. This black woman just went, oh my God! That's real shit, by the way. That's real. You can Google it. It's on your phone. You can look it up. Yeah, this black woman just like, you just crashed my computer. It's a real thing. That's the best branding of all time. You're never going to forget that website. You're never going to... Some of you will look it up to see if I'm lying, and it'll be weird because you don't need to look it up. And then one day one of your friends is going to borrow your phone. Hey, can I use your phone? Why are you looking up websites where white people are doing black people's hair? Is that your thing, Phil? What is going on? Chocolate Hair Vanilla Care. So my wife studied that website. She got like a binder and took notes and bookmarked and screen grabbed pictures and printed it out and the whole thing. And I would walk out there in the morning when my daughter's first hair started to come in. My wife would be out there with like a binder and the computer open, and she's pushing play and pause, and my daughter's hair just all... And my wife's got there's like a comb that's just stuck in it, you know what I mean? Just like... And she got like a bottle of water, and she's just sitting there like, and my daughter's hair goes... Because you don't just spray water into a black person's hair without a plan, all right? You can't just do that shit. You will ruin a black person's day by just putting water in their hair without figuring out what the next step is. Am I right, black people? Thank you, thank you. Independent black verification. But now my daughter's 4 years old. My wife, she's not even, I walk out there now, there's no computer, there's no binder, there's just all sorts of different products, every color of the rainbow, some Johnson & Johnson products, some mixed chicks, and my wife's just out there, just like in my daughter's hair, just like, There's a hot comb on the stove. No reason, just for effect. She's talking about, I gotta get in this child's kitchen. What are you talking about? I love when there's black people in the audience who get that last joke. Why would they be in the kitchen? Oh, I can't explain everything. Our living room looks like the front porch of a Snoop Dogg video from the 90s. There's other black people in the neighborhood in line waiting their turn to get their hair did. D-I-D. All right. Keeping it loose. So now our daughter's 4, so we have to send her to school. That's a whole thing. We have to send her to preschool. And my wife, again, she studied that too. She was like, she set up like 5 different preschool visits. And I was like, oh, why do we have to go to so many preschool visits? I was like, can't we just Google the closest one? check it out on Yelp, see if there've been any bad things that happened there. But my wife was like, no, we got to go see. Because I didn't get the importance of preschool. I just was like, isn't preschool just a room where you send your kids, where they can learn how to be in rooms for 8 hours at a time? Isn't that all preschool really is? Just indoctrinating you into capitalism, that it's 5 days a week, we all have to go to rooms for 8 hours at a time, we're not allowed to leave. Even if what you do there, you could do at home, they make you go to that room anyway. And it teaches you how to hang out with people you hate, but you got to hang out with them anyway. And then you gotta sing them happy birthday on their fucking birthday? Phil, I don't even like you. You were looking up black women's hair on the internet. Happy birthday to you. That's what I thought preschool was just the first step to teaching you how to be a capitalist. A sad capitalist. Which maybe it is. But I also found out that every preschool has a different way in which they sort of teach children. Like there actually is teaching that goes on in some preschools. And it was good to know that, because I didn't know that. So we went to these preschool visits, I instantly knew there were some I was like, I couldn't get with. We went to this one preschool, and this woman said, just so you know, at this preschool, we don't really focus kids on like letters and numbers and even reading yet. We just want them to experience play. We just want them to play. They can get all that when they get to kindergarten. We just want them to experience play. And I was like, well, thank you, lady. That sounds wonderful. And now I'm gonna take my daughter the fuck up out of here. Because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm raising an African-American lady baby, and we need to make them as smart as possible, as early as possible, because once they get out into real life, they start like 60% behind where everybody else does, and so they need to learn now and get as smart as they can. So look, I get that you're having a good time here, but apparently this preschool is for white male babies, all right? Where a motherfucker can eat paste all day and still be the president! So I've enjoyed this trip around George W. Bush preschool. But I'm going across town to Oprah Winfrey, Shonda Rhimes, Harriet Tubman, Beyonce Knowles, Nikki Giovanni, Preparatory Leadership Academy, where the first day they teach calculus. The second day they teach the people's history. The third day, they teach how to use a knife, because sometimes motherfuckers don't understand the calculus of people's history, and you just need to let them know. How to use a knife. This is ridiculous, man. I am glad I have two daughters. I didn't know that I would care one way or the other about if I had boys or girls. I thought as a man, you sort of feel like you have that pressure to feel like, I want to have a boy, but I didn't really know if I would care. And then I had two daughters, and it feels so much better. Dudes were the worst. I just gotta say that. Like even little boys are already like taking up too much space and being loud, and we just sort of let them do. And they go, well, boys will be boys, not if you fucking, you know what I mean? Like, chill this dude out. I feel like as a man who has daughters, I can just be a total like inside information sellout. Here's all I know. Here's all the shit I got. We're just taking up too much space and just being gross. Think about it. If somebody walks up to you and says, and you're like, I'm gonna go into that room, and they go, just so you know, there's a real like female energy in that room. You may be like, oh, okay, thank you. But if somebody goes, there's a real male energy in there, you're like, oh, I'm not going in there. Somebody's gonna have a bad thing happen. Man energy doesn't lead to good. It's real male up in there. No, thank you. I don't have my knife. Don't think I can do it. Yeah, so I just glad to have girls, man. Hopefully they'll be around for a woman president soon, if Elizabeth Warren decides. I am sort of like, I like Barack. It's been a crazy road this last 7-8 years. I mean, I'm happy that there's a lot of good points, a lot of things. I feel like some things I'm happy, and some things I feel like gay marriage in this country is like slowly becoming legal in every state, and I feel like a lot of that is because Barack, just when they asked him about it, even though he didn't have anything to do with it, just when they asked him about it, he didn't do what every other president had done and went like, ew, gross. But when they asked Barack about gay marriage, he's like, sure, I guess. Man, I don't know. What'd Joe Biden say? What'd he say? Oh, he's with it? Then I guess I'm with it. If Joe's crazy, Joe Biden's with it, then I'm with it. So I feel like he's done some good stuff. I do feel like, the response to all the horrible tragedies in America and across all the cities with all the violence of the cops against black people and other people, but black people, we're the front lines of that shit. Like his response to that has just been a little bit left me wanting more. You know, I remember when Ferguson first happened, Michael Brown, I was like, and it was like that thing where Michael Brown was murdered, and he was in the street, and the cops killed him, and they didn't let the community know what was going on. They just left him in the streets to get warm, and it was gross and horrible, and they didn't let the community know what was going on, because the cops in this country feel like they're invading your city. They don't feel like they're a part of your city. And so they didn't let the community go on, and then people got mad, and in the streets, and then people started protesting, and then rioters and looters showed up. And just to be clear, rioters and looters are different than protesters. You know how I know that? Because they have different words for each group. That's how I know. We invented different words for each group. That's a protester, that's a looter, that's a rioter. They're not synonyms. So yeah, so they show up, they start rooting, and things start going bad, and I was like, okay, here comes Barack Obama. Here comes my black president, because he's going to say some shit about this. And I waited, and then 4 days later, they announced he was going to give a press conference. And I was like, and my friends were like, are you happy Barack's going to say something? I'm like, no, it's been 4 days. I'm not happy he's going to say something unless he says it from downtown Ferguson, standing on a pile of burning cop cars with his shirt off and his tie around his head going, regulators! Time to ride! Like, I'm time to ride. I don't know what that means, but honey, bring me my tie. I got to wrap it around my head. Well, then buy me a tie. Yeah, So yeah, I mean, I like him. I'm just, it's just not in love anymore now. It's like, it's so weird now that we're doing the whole running for president thing again. I'm just not ready yet. Like the GOP has, like, have you seen that? There's like 20 different people running for president. And I love how every time they compare it to a clown car, every time the GOP, it's like a clown car, like all the different people. It's like a clown car. I feel like there's a big difference between the GOP and a clown car. Because when all the clowns get out of the clown car, the difference is in the GOP, when the clowns get out of the clown car, nobody goes, all right, now that we got these clowns out of the car, let's take one of these clowns seriously. That doesn't happen. One of these clowns we should actually take seriously. Which clown are we going to take seriously? It's not going to be Ben Carson. It's so weird how you can be so good at one aspect of your life and so fucked up in all the other ones. I'm like, you're a genius, right? You're like one of the best surgeons of all time. But the rest of it is a disaster. It's a shit show. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I wouldn't want Michael Jordan to be president either. It's like, just because you're great at that doesn't mean you're good at everything else. Ben, I just feel weird about that thing because I don't know why. Look, you can be a black Republican. That's fine. I'm allowing you to be. I'm not saying. It was a better look during the days of Lincoln. Now, not so much. But you can be. I got every black person has black Republicans in their family. It's just the thing. But they just don't talk too much at the family reunion. They just sort of sit in the corner and we go, that's the guy. My dad might be a Republican for all I know. When I ask him about his political affiliations, he's like, why we gotta talk about that? I don't know you that well. Dad, I've known you since I was 12. That's such a shitty joke. I've known my dad most of my life. It's getting worse and worse. But I don't get the whole, I don't get wanting to be the leading black Republican. You understand? I don't get wanting to be every year some black Republican goes, they want to be like the new favorite black Republican. And I feel like that title's like Miss America. It only lasts for about a year. And then afterwards, nobody gives a shit about you. Think about it. We go through this every year, so there's I just feel like there's a room somewhere. It's like Michael Steele, Alan West, Alan Keyes, fucking Herman Cain sitting in the corner, 99999. It doesn't work out. They just let you every year, and they go, no, just go to the room. Mia Love, I'm like, don't do it. Just be a black Republican. Don't be the black Republican. There's no percentage in that. And the way our democracy works doesn't. There's so many things that don't make sense to me. The Supreme Court's about to have a big ruling about gay marriage, right? Yeah. And I just feel like I sort of don't get. Here's what I don't get. Why do we leave the most important decisions about our country to the oldest people in our country? I'm not an ageist. I'm just saying that the average age of the Supreme Court is over 60 years old. I just don't feel like they have the same stake in it as some of the rest of us. You know what I mean? They don't have the same stake in how this works out. It just doesn't, you don't. You're just like, I don't know if it should be legal. I don't know. I'm dead in 2 weeks. It just doesn't have the same. I don't understand why we're leaving the problems of the future to the oldest people. You don't ask your grandma to show you how to use your iPad. You don't do that shit. And if she says, show me how to use my iPad, you go, oh, God damn it. Oh. No, I got to go to work tomorrow. I don't have time to explain technology to you. I sent you an email. Oh, why did you have to do that? Oh, no. I bought my mom a flat screen television. I won't stop hearing about it. It's a rectangle. Okay, all right, Mom. I'm not being ageist so much. What I'm trying to say is, I get how you should have old people on the Supreme Court. I'm just saying they shouldn't be exclusively the people on the Supreme Court. I feel like the Supreme Court should be like everything else that's good. It should be a mix up across like racial, ethnic, sexual, gender, all the whole thing. It should be a mix of ages. There should be somebody who's like 80 and somebody who's 70, just all 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, somebody a teenager, and somebody, and all the way down to a baby. You know what I mean? Just to represent the Tea Party. Wah! Big government, wah! Muslim, wah! I'm trying to be fair. Just the world is changing fast. And did I get the light? No, okay. I'm sorry. Hold, I feel like I'm getting paranoid about things. So let me. How much? What time is it? Oh, all right. They told me I had to be off. I don't get. It's just the world is changing. Things are moving pretty quickly. Like, it's funny to think, like 4 years ago, yeah, I got a little Coke. There's a light up there that I keep being confused by. But there's the world is changing. Like, who knew that in 2007 that this country would be like so on board with gay marriage as it is now? And it's not done yet, but who knew? Like, it's just that we're sort of like, yeah, let's just wrap this up. And it's funny, we're not even that wrapped up on it, but it feels like, yeah, I guess it's just a matter of time. We just need a certain amount of people to finish dying, and then we'll have this whole gay marriage thing. We'll just wrap up the whole gay marriage thing. I really don't get why that was ever an issue. I certainly grew up as a person who was not. I certainly had homophobia in me as a kid, but when I grew up and sort of met people who were different gay people, and we sat down and talked, I was like, oh, I guess I'm just dumb. Yeah. And they said, yeah, you're dumb. But I don't get why. Now, once I sort of thought it through and met people, I don't get why. If you don't like gay people, why would marriage be the place you'd want to stop them from doing their thing? You understand what I'm saying? If you just don't like gay people, why would marriage be? I'll show you. By applause, who's married? Okay, perfect. You see how lethargic that applause was? That's what marriage is. Everybody's like, oh, God, he's asking us if we're married. Why you gotta make me think of my problems? All right. Honey, are we clapping? I guess we'll clap. Maybe he'll move on. That's what marriage is. It's not like a fucking hot fudge sundae bar. It's like if you don't like gay people, stop them from doing things that are fun. Marriage, it's like, I'm married, I like being married, but it's a big deal. It's every day. It's like you get up and you're married and you're in it, and you gotta stay in it, and you don't know when it's gonna end, and it's like, there's good days and bad days, but one of you's gonna kill the other or die. It's just a whole it's like climbing a mountain or some shit. You're just like, and you get to the top and nobody gives a shit. That's marriage. I love being married, but it's also like, whoo! Like, why would that be the thing you wouldn't want gay people to do? If you don't like gay people, then don't let them do things that are awesome. You know what I mean? I don't like gay people, so they can't go to water parks in the summer. No! But water parks in the summer are so much fun. Then, ma'am, you need to stop scissoring other women on the way down the slides. No woman has ever done that. I don't understand. Like, if you don't like, I don't like gay people, so gay people from now on aren't allowed to have ice cream. But ice cream is so delicious. Then stop putting it on other men's dicks. I've never done that, sir, but now that you bring it up, I'll give it a shot. What makes pistachio ice cream better than a person's dick on it? Dickstachio, yeah, look, it's... I just don't understand why that would be the thing. And things are moving. It's the 21st century, so the internet, things are moving quickly. Like, Caitlyn Jenner. Bam! It's so funny to think. I'm totally in support. Transgender community, been in support for a long time. Happy that Caitlyn Jenner is making her way through the world today. Takes everything you got. I'm totally happy for it. The funny thing to me is, who knew that when Kim Kardashian and Ray J made a sex tape 12 years ago, that would end up in the nation confronting its transgender bias. You know what I'm saying? Was that the Kardashians' plan the whole time? That's my question. It just seems crazy that there's like a direct link from that all the way to like, there's a direct link from Ray J and Kim, like, hey, let's get together on this tape and let's do this thing, because I think the nation needs to figure out his transgender issues. Well, yeah, a little tight, I'm working it out, it's new. I just think it's interesting that, because I do think we have to have these awkward conversations more often. We have to have these discussions with everybody. We have to talk about the things that don't make sense or that are frustrating. And I think the problem with social media is that it blunts our ability to have those awkward conversations. Because we don't have them, we just sort of snark back and forth at each other. And I know that to be true because I lost a friend over his inability to have an awkward conversation. There's a friend, a real life friend, not a Facebook friend, a real friend. I feel like we need to distinguish because we say the value of the word friend has gone way down. It was at an all-time high with the TV show Friends, and now it's fallen down with Facebook. So I feel like we had this thing. We had a thing, we were Facebook friends, but we were also, how do I put it, smelling friends. You know what I mean? Like I'd smelled him before. I'd been in his house. So I'd written a blog about racism like I do, and I posted it, and my friend, my former friend at this point, takes the blog and he posts it on his Facebook page and goes, Kamau says this, and this guy, I should be clear, he's a brunette. Isn't that helpful? That's nice. Take it with you. So my brunette friend takes the blog and he puts it on his Facebook page, and then he goes, Kamau wrote this blog about racism, but I don't think it's racism. I just want to say to all the white people here, that's not your job. It's not your job to determine what is and isn't racism. It's just not your job. It's not your job. You got a lot of jobs. I know right now you're going, but we have all the jobs. I know. But let me lovingly take that job from you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let me lovingly scoop that job. Let's take this one job. It's not your job. You can have opinions about what is and isn't racism, but you can't have the final word. You understand what I'm saying? It's kind of a conflict of interest. You know what I mean? You can't be the... It's just too many things. It's a conflict. It'd be like, look, I'm 6'4". It'd be like if it was my job to determine what shelf shit went on. You know what I'm saying? If I was like, yep, everything goes right up here. Everything goes right up here. That's right. I'm determined it goes right up here, but I can't reach that. Well, that's not my problem. Lift yourself up by your bootstraps. Up, you mighty race. Yeah, it's just not. You can have opinions about racism, but you can't have the final word. It's just a weird conflict of interest, and so I wrote on his Facebook page. I was like, hey man, I get that you might have opinions about racism, but you can't say it's not racist. That's just weird. It's just too much. And he goes, I go, because look, I as a member of an oppressed group, I think I have a better idea of that version of that ism. He goes, and this is what he says. He goes, look, Kamau, as an atheist, I'm also a member of an oppressed group. And then I blacked out. And I woke up in the hospital 6 weeks later. Boop, boop, boop. My mom was like, Mama, did that white man really say that atheists are members of a oppressed group? She said, yes, baby. Boop. And they just brought me around in time for this show. I have this to say about that. No! Atheists, I love you. Some of my best atheists are friends. I want to be clear about that. I'm a big fan. I understand. I've read Revelations. That sounds weird. If that's how the rapture happens, I'll be like, I'll hang back. That's all weird. But I can't I'm not saying no atheist has never had their ass kicked. Of course atheists have had their ass kicked what they believed in. But it hasn't happened enough for you to be a member of an oppressed group. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't happened enough. To be a member of an oppressed group, it has to happen like either a lot or one time real big. You know what I'm saying? In this country, like black people, the Jews. You know what I'm saying? But atheists, I'm just saying, a lot of times you say oppressed group because you're like, I was at a party one time and I said I was an atheist and people looked at me weird. That's not close. And atheists, I get it, it's a social movement. You're sort of going through puberty right now, so you're all proud of yourselves, and you're all standing up in your heels. And so you ever been at a party with an atheist, and they're trying to stop you from getting to the chip and dip. They're like, there's no God. There's clearly no God. I can prove there's no God. There's no God. I can send you a YouTube file about there's no God. Clearly there's no God. Look, I'll write it down. There's no God. And I'm like, dude, I'm starting to believe you that there's no God because I've been praying for him to strike you down. And you're still here. Look, I'm not even sure there is a God. Let me just be clear about this. I just can't be black and also not believe in God, all right? That's just, how would I get out of bed in the morning, all right? Oh, I'm black and there's no God. Fuck that, I'm going back to sleep. It's just too many things. I need a little, I don't even have a really good, when I think God, I'm not even thinking of the God I was taught. I put a whole God in my head together. Like, when I think God, I think like a really old Denzel Washington with dreadlocks. That's what I'm thinking about. And I just use it when I need it. Like, every now and then I'm trying to catch the bus. Help me, Black Jesus, help me. You know what I mean? Then I get the bus. Thank you, Black Jesus. It's just a little thing I like to do to help me feel better about the day. How the fuck would I go outside in America right now if I thought there was no God? So look, and I know atheists right now are like, historically there have been atheists. I get it. But until Howard Zinn talks about you, you can't be a member of a press group. And he's dead. So here's what I'm saying. But atheists, fine. If you want to be a member of a press group atheist, I brought the list of press groups with me. I have the whole list right here. And it's ranked in order. I don't know what the order is today, because like the NASDAQ, it changes every day goes by. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at the top of the list, there's, it's usual, so black people, Latino people, Mexican Americans, undocumented people, transgender people, gay people, handicapped people, Arab people, Muslim people. I don't know the exact list. Like I said, it changes every day. Every now and again, some new group pops up on the list, and it's like, oh, look at that, gay teens, shop with a bullet, whatever. And then you go like, who else? Am I missing anybody on the list, top of the list? Women are on the list, even though they're most of the population. White men, how do you do it? So here's what I'm saying. Women are up there, and I don't know, it just changes every day. We'll go by, women shoot up the list every time a woman goes, I have an opinion, Then you go down the list, of repressed people, you go down the list, you get to the bottom list, and you find atheists are at the bottom of the list, right between people with peanut allergies and white guys who are too tall, too rich, and too good looking, you know what I'm saying? Ben Affleck is the least oppressed person on the planet. Ben Affleck's worst day of life was the day he got offered the job Batman, and people were upset on Twitter. That was his worst day. They don't like the fact that I'm going to play Batman. They're going to pay me millions of dollars to play a fictional character, and people don't like it. I know why the cage bird sings. White people get upset about some nonsense. You're mad about a guy who's playing Batman? Really? He's a fucking rich, good-looking, athletic guy. He could be Batman. What are you talking about? Yeah, so it's just, and that's why, we have to talk these things through. We can have here. I'll leave here tonight. We can have these awkward discussions online. I have to go to the next show, but yeah, at the Howard Theater. But yeah, so I'm happy to, we just have to have these awkward discussions, and I appreciate that, and that's why I'm glad I have my daughter, because that's why we're trying to talk to her about racism and sexism and homophobia and all the isms as young as possible. She can get in that awkward conversation. And the great thing about my daughter is I realized that, like I said, she's my buddy. So it's not just about, indoctrinating her with the sadness of the world. It's also about hanging out. It's not just about that. We hang out. We have a good time together. And now my daughter's at the age where she can realize when I'm having a bad day and she can help me out. Like, recently I was just having a bad day. It was like, this was about a year ago. It was after the end of Totally Biased, my TV show I had, and I was feeling like maybe it's over, maybe my whole career's over, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I was just sitting on the couch, and my daughter walks up and goes, Dad, what's wrong? I go, just, everything. And she goes, Dad, let's watch Frozen. And she was right. I needed to let it go. You know what I'm saying? My daughter introduced the movie Frozen to me, and now that's my shit. I watch it when she's not home sometimes, just to get out of a bad stretch. And I was so proud of her and so excited that she had that moment of realization. I was like, you know what? I'm going to share some knowledge with her because I want her to be smart. Because I didn't want her to think that a blonde cartoon white lady sang Frozen. I wanted her to know that a real live brunette lady sang Frozen. So I pulled up a clip on YouTube from The Tonight Show of Idina Menzel singing Let It Go. And I played it for her, and I go play, and I go, look, here she is singing it. And my daughter was so confused. Because she didn't get that the cartoon's not real, but this lady has the same voice, but it doesn't make any sense. And then she started thinking it was some sort of weird Little Mermaid situation where her voice had been stolen by the sea witch. And my daughter's just looking at the thing and looking at me like, it's a more powerful witch. Oh, God. And I was just like, ugh. And finally, my daughter stopped, and she looked, and she smiled, and I didn't realize what was happening. I looked at the screen, and I realized it was the version where Idina Menzel was backed by the Roots. And my daughter, no lie, looks at me, looks at Questlove, and goes, Dada! So maybe I look a little bit like Questlove. or my daughter's a racist. Either way. Hey, everybody, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it. We'll do it again sometime. Love you, DC. Keep fighting the fight. Love you, Baltimore.